This is James Loy at Blackpool Art Gallery in Blackpool, here again with artist in residence William Cummings, and we're here to talk about Daddy's Home.
There you go. When you come from a dysfunctional family, you never end up with any more than incredible amounts of inspiration, and this is one of them. And it's all about a phone call to my sister. Speaking to my sister, and she said that my mother was sitting, shaking, looking at a clock and crying, and she's off her head, right? And I pointed out to her that on Friday nights, when if my father didn't come home with his wages, my mother would send me out to round the pubs to try and find my father. And this would cause him a lot of annoyance. And the reason she sent me is because women weren't allowed in pubs. So I would go and try and find him, and it was a horrific experience. And so she used to wait and look at the clock, and then she'd send me round the pubs. And when he came home, he used to beat her up. And I did this painting about that because I thought that let's have a bit of exposure about this kind of stuff. When I worked as the art teacher in a prison, and there was loads of lads there who came from really messed up backgrounds, and I had affinity with them. I could understand how it felt, how they had low self-worth, and how they got involved in things, because I understood that quite well. And so I decided to do this painting. It's called Daddy's Home, and he was a boxer, my father. My mother was 5'1". He was a real hero, and it says Mum Scotland here. And I don't think I'd even have thought about it if I hadn't had that phone call with my sister, which she seems not to understand things at all. Okay, that's it. Okay, this is continuing the theme of the same phone call I had with my sister, which is incredible. I asked her how her marriage was going and how things were, and she said to me, she said, well, my husband comes home at night and he goes to another part of the house and he watches any old television. And I said, oh yeah, that sounds like a really good relationship. She said, well, you see, in Pakistan, he didn't have a television in the village, so he just sort of makes up for it now. And I thought it was the most incredible racist thing I'd ever heard. I mean, how did she know that he didn't have Sky in his village in Pakistan? I mean, I've not, but it just seems a very odd way to précis your marriage. And so I did this painting about it. This is him watching the television, right? And this is my sister here. And it really pissed me off, that phone conversation. So these two paintings are about that, about my reaction to being told about things. And it was, I think I sort of got something out of my system with all that, because there's a lot of anger in here. There's a lot of it in here. And there's a lot of sort of blindness and talking rubbish instead of trying to understand life. So I put that into it. I quite like that. So that's more or less the story. It's called Maureen's Marriage. I don't know if I'll ever do a painting like it again, but it certainly summed up the feelings I had at the end of that conversation. One about my mother and one about her marriage. There we go. That's it.